The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Jess De Los Santos and here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas is expected to raise its average inflation forecast for this year after the CPI soared to a fresh 14-year high last month. BSP Deputy Governor Francisco Daquila Jr. said they have to take into account the January inflation of 8.7%. Analysts also expect the BSP to hike interest rates by up to 50 basis points, according to a Business World poll. The Monetary Board is scheduled to hold its first policy meeting for the year today, February 16. The Philippine Competition Commission says it is looking into the possibility of a cartel manipulating the supply and prices of onions in the market. The PCC says it has been exploring the onion cartel angle and investigating possible abuse of dominance conduct since November last year. The commission said it launched a probe as retail prices soared and peaked at around 600 pesos per kilo in December of 2022. The PCC says it is looking into the costs of the market anomaly in coordination with sector regulators and other law enforcement agencies. Under the Philippine Competition Act, business taking advantage of the situation may be fined up to 100 million pesos and may be sentenced to up to 7 years of jail time. Fines may be tripled if trade of basic necessities, including agricultural products identified by the Price Act, are involved in cartel or abuse of dominance violations. While consumers are concerned over soaring prices of commodities, farmers are worried that a surge in imports will end up weakening their ability to plant more crops. Gerard de la Peña with a story.
Despite the importation of agri-products such as sugar and rice, the prices of these commodities have yet to go down. Speaking with the chiefs, SINAG President Rosendo Sol lamented that prices have remained the same despite the government's push for more importation.
Yung sugar, dumating yung imported, sabi ng SRA, pag dumating yung imported, sabi din ng presidente, pag dumating yung imported, bababa ng 70, in which hindi rin nangyari. No?
Data from the Agriculture Department's price monitoring as of February 15 showed the price of refined sugar in Metro Manila markets ranging from 87 pesos to 110 pesos per kilo. Meanwhile, rice prices with local premium rice and regular milled rice are selling for 42 to 49 pesos and 32 to 40 pesos per kilogram respectively. Recently, the SRA board unanimously approved the plan to bring in 440,000 metric tons of refined sugar to stabilize retail prices and shore up the country's buffer stock. They expect sugar prices to go down to the 85 pesos per kilogram level once the first batch of refined sugar arrives in the country in April. Farmer groups, however, were expecting that given the numerous importation orders, it would have been enough to bring down the prices. But that hasn't been the case. This has left both consumers and producers at a disadvantage.
Kung makita mo kasi yung import ng ano natin, ng bigas, lumaki. Import ng karne ng baboy, karne ng manok. Ito is lahat lumaki yung import natin, no? Hindi ito nakatulong dun sa pag-produce natin.
So added that as a result of the influx of imported products, fewer farmers are now planting due to lack of income.
Ang tingin natin is yung mga magsasaka nag-less area na planted area kasi lumaki yung import. In spite of that, hindi bumaba yung presyo.
Despite this, So is hoping that farmers would be enticed to plant rice once more as the country's situation gradually improves.
We hope na itong this coming cropping medyo mainganyo sanang magsasaka na bumalik, no, kasi yung presyo ng palay medyo maganda naman ngayon, and we hope na magtatanim sila.
For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, we are One News.
The Philippine Egg Board airs concerns over the possible effect of bird flu outbreaks on supply of eggs in the market. The group says producers have become more hesitant about raising chickens amid fears that the virus could hit their farms and put their capital and hard work to waste. The group also notes that the increase in egg prices would not be enough to sustain poultry farms due to high prices of chicken feed. The Philippine Egg Board also raises concerns over underreporting of bird flu outbreaks as government does not compensate well enough for farmers' losses.
Kailangan kahit paano makabawi sila. Pag may sakit, habang hindi tumatanin yung bahay, ibinibenta na nila yung manok para magkapera sila. Kumakalat yun, kaya nagahawag yun sa iba yun.
According to the Philippine Egg Board, the government only pays poultry farms 100 pesos per head or up to 300,000 pesos per farm hit by bird flu. The Bureau of Animal Industry acknowledges that the compensation isn't just and vows to raise it just enough to encourage farmers to report bird flu outbreaks.
Ni-revise namin yung policy na yon, tinaasan natin. And that is under review na po ng DA. So ongoing na po yung revision nun. We are hoping na yung mailagay dong amount will be attractive enough for our farmers to report yung any suspect case na pag meron sila. So sana kahit papaano they won't feel naman na lugi sila.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Jess De Los Santos. The government has raised 283.7 billion pesos from its offering of 5.5-year retail treasury bonds or RTBs. National Treasurer Rosalia De Leon said it ended 2 days earlier than initially scheduled after exceeding the Bureau's target. She explained that the volume was capped amid strong demand for the new issue with a coupon rate of 6.125%. But one trader said that the amount raised by the government was below the market's estimate of 300 billion pesos. Economist Michael Ricafort said the demand may have been reduced by the $3 billion global bond issuance in January. Now, approved foreign investment pledges rose nearly 26% in 2022, driven by robust performance in the fourth quarter. Preliminary data from the Philippine Statistics Authority shows that approved foreign investments stood at nearly 242 billion pesos last year. That's 25.6% higher than the 192.5 billion pesos in 2021. Singapore was the top source of approved foreign investment pledges last year, with 130.6 billion pesos accounting for 54% of the total. If these projects take shape, investments pledged during the fourth quarter are expected to generate over 23,000 jobs. Remittances hit an all-time high in 2022 as overseas Filipinos sent more money to their families back home who are struggling with soaring prices. Data from the Bangko Sentral show that cash remittances jumped by 3.6% to $32.54 billion last year. This figure exceeded the previous record of $31.42 billion in 2021. In December alone, remittances increased by 5.8% to $3.16 billion. The Bangko Sentral said the expansion in remittances was due to the growth in receipts from both land-based and sea-based workers. Economists said that besides the holiday season, high inflation may have also prompted OFWs to send more money to help their families. Inflation accelerated to 8.1% in December 2022, bringing full-year CPI to 5.8%. Looking for another reason to satisfy your hot pot cravings? Well, you could be helping the earth. Bloomberg's James Mager shows us how waste oil from comforting hot pot dishes is turned into fuel for green jets.
Spicy hot pot, one of China's most loved meals. Now, diners may be helping to combat greenhouse gases. This is where waste oil from hot pot dishes is processed and is later turned into green jet fuel that powers airplanes in Europe. Chengdu in southwest China is known for spicy hot pot, which creates a lot of this used cooking oil. The company we're at today, Jinshang Environmental Technology, is turning this into this, which is a biofuel precursor the company will then ship to Europe, where it's turned into sustainable fuel such as biodiesel and even jet fuel. The aviation industry faces immediate pressure under regulations to decarbonize, and many major European and US airlines have pledged to replace about 10% of their jet fuel consumption with sustainable alternatives by 2030. Oil from food waste is the major source to produce sustainable jet fuel in the short term, and China is the largest exporter.
We're in the kitchen of the Hot Pot restaurant in Chengdu. This machine behind us is used to separate the food waste from the hot pot and takes out the solids and the water and leaves behind the oil, which goes into these drums behind me and then is taken away for further processing.
But this process has some limitations. There will only be enough supply to cover just about 4% of the world's jet fuel demand. The world will soon need to develop more waste sources and new processing technologies to produce sustainable jet fuel in order to help airlines fully decarbonize.
For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Jess De Los Santos. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News, all sides, all the time.